Hey, yo, welcome back to the Pac-Man special. It's your boy Pac-Man. I'm back at it again with another Dragon Ball Masters content for you. With this video, due to popular demand and my teammate Beer getting 4th place in the Top Cut regional this past Play TCG regional this past weekend. Everybody's been DMing you about this list, dude, and I know you're pretty excited about playing this green Goku deck. And you, like I said, you got 4th place. I'm pretty sure, like, what, this is a second regional, I believe, this year. So for the season, right?
For North America, I think it's the second regional in North America. It's the first online regional.
First online regional. So you're just killing it, getting that invite out the way and setting the pace for the team, dude. So yeah, just tell us a little bit about yourself for the people that don't know who you are.
It's me, Beer. I'm one of the players here at Game 3, of course. I know some of you might know I have a few other tops in the past, but I'm usually known as Mr. Aggro, Mr. Unga Bunga, but I try to play this deck. It's a little bit of a change of pace. It's still a pretty aggressive deck, but there's still some more mid-rangey-ness to it. There's a bit more like controlliness to it, so I tried a little bit different thing, but I mainly chose this deck as well just because it's very simple. And no flashy hijinks, nothing like that. It's just play good cards, do good stuff. And when you're going to a regional where you're going 7, 8 rounds, 6 rounds, 7 rounds, whatever, it's always better to have a simpler plan than a more complicated plan.
Right.
Because even though you can pull off stuff via skill expression, if you go to round 6, round 7, you're mentally exhausted, you're not going to be able to pull through consistently. So you want simple. Simple is good. Because then you can make the high-level choices.
Right, because a lot of people say simplicity is key. So with this Son Goku deck, it is from the new current set. You feel like this is the best green deck out right now?
In my opinion, this is probably... It's a little... I will go ahead and be bold and say, yes, this is the best green leader. Gohan is very close. It's very, very close. It's just this deck doesn't care as much about the mulligan rule compared to Gohan, where if you get a bad mulligan with Gohan, you're done. Like you're not going to function.
Right.
They both do very strong things. It's just this one is
more generic.
More of a toolbox. It's a toolbox, exactly.
Okay,
you can do whatever you want.
All right. Well, for those that don't know, this leader is Son Goku, and it has a actually really cool effect. Is the auto that when it attacks, you can look at top 5 cards, and you can look for a Saiyan, Earthling, or Namekian that costs 4 or less, which is outstanding because you can just find super combos easy. And then you can awaken when you have Z Unison, which is something that's new this format. So you always have access to your Unison. How did that make you feel having access to your Unison?
It's fantastic. You never have to worry about seeing it. Like back in the day, remember, like, oh man, I got a tech in Heavenly Wizard Demigra, or I got a tech in this. But if you don't see your Demigra or your Bardock Unison on turn like 1 or turn 2, you just feel like you're always behind. Now is just a guarantee to always get it out. And this particular Z Unison for the deck is probably one of the best ones out there because it only costs 1 Z energy to play. Where in comparison, for example, the Vegito deck, they need 2 Z energy. And in situations where you're facing blue and they go peel off, shoot mine, you can at least go, you know what, all -2 cards, then I get my Z energy, I can build back my hand. Where those decks, they actually suffer extremely against something like Peel Off Shumai. So it is a very, very, very nice boon that the Awaken condition requires something very easy to get out.
And you're always awakening as quick as possible with this deck, I take it.
Always.
All right. Because I did notice that on the Awaken side, you don't have to attack to draw cards.
You do. You have to be in the battle phase. It's activate battle. You draw 1, give 1 of your cards, any card, plus 5k for the battle. The leader doesn't draw on screen more, but instead he's a 20k beater. And then if you ever use the Z Unison skill to give 1 of your cards blocker, you can put a green battle card from your grave into your Z energy with its skills negated. Well, which is fantastic.
Essentially, what I meant was you don't have to attack with the leader in order to get the draw. You can attack with your battle cards first, just in case you need to like play around, like maybe like Flying Nimbus or something, right?
Which is huge.
Which is huge.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, well, that's the breakdown of the leader. Let's just go ahead and start diving into the deck, and we'll just kind of like break down your choices real quick so we can kind of get through the deck profile, and then we could talk about matchups and stuff.
Sounds good.
All right, so the first card you have here is Son Gohan Latent Power of Unleashed. Why this card?
So in this current meta, everybody is playing Z Unisons. Everybody's playing Z Unisons. There's not a deck that isn't running a Z Unison somewhere in some capacity, right? But when you look at the meta, you need this for the mirror match. It's really important. You still need this card for blue because the one of Boo. You need this against the green mirrors as well. So this, and really important against Vegito. If you see this on curve in your opening hand against Vegito, the black Vegito deck, and they sequence poorly, if they play their unison and then swing their leader, swing with anything right away while it only has 2 or 3 markers and you have an energy up, you can remove that unison right away, and it denies them the ability to push 5 damage on you on turn 2, because then they can't play their double striker, and that is absolutely detrimental. They go from having a turn doing 5 potential damage to maybe doing 2 damage at most.
Okay.
So it puts you super ahead of the game, and it's an easy card. You can always side in and out. It's a very easy flex spot. But yeah, the card's really good in this meta. If I own 4, I would run 4 personally, but I only own 3. I'm gonna run 3.
Yeah, well,
as much as you own.
That is definitely a question we'll come to once we get through the rest of the main deck to see what changes you would make. Obviously, you chose the best super combo there is, which is Paragus, and it's searchable off the leader's front side. And I believe now you have your 1-drop breakdown, right? And you play these 3 1-drops?
Yes, exactly. So I'm running 10 cantrips overall. I'm running 4 of the anti-D Magic Silver Bullet, 3 of the Gohan TP, and 3 of the Majin Exterminator, the anti-hand control Silver Bullet. And the reasoning for this is quite simple. The Silver Bullet one for D Magic, it's got barrier. Your Z Unison gives a blocker, which means you have a barrier blocker for 1 that draws you a card, and then the Z Unison draws you a card, and you just sit there. It's like, okay, your opponent is either going to swing into your Unison, you okay, cool, I block, I get a draw, and I can dormant, prevent 1 more swing, and if you don't have a double strike, you're not killing my Unison now. Or you tell your opponent, okay, waste a barrier removal on a 1-drop that drew me a card. By all means, waste cards in your hand, and my Unison gets a marker.
Nice.
So that is ideally your turn 1 play.
Okay.
If you have that, you play it. And of course, it's great against blue. But you never side this card. This card always stays in the way. There's no reason to side it out.
Roger.
It's just too good.
And then obviously, like you say, you have the new TP at a 3 of. It's an on-play draw card. Looks like all three of these targets are all cantrips, which is really good.
Yes, exactly. They're all cantrips. You just want consistency. The main reason for running the Gohan, of course, is the fact that you can send it from your Z energy to the warp to give your Z Unison barrier until the end of your opponent's turn. Which means if you know your opponent is siding in Black Smoke or the baby SR or anything like that, or even the green mirror where they have the SGR, you don't care. Your Unison is safe. As long as they don't remove a marker from it, they can't snipe it, which is a really big deal. And then you're forcing your opponent to waste resources.
Nice. And then obviously we have the hand control variant for that card as well. All right, so diving into the next card here, I believe you have the next 2 cards here from the current set, right? So these are your 1-drop, basically 1-drop other targets that you can play at a specific time. All right, so go ahead and break these down for us.
So the Vegeta is going to be your standard turn 2 play. He on play kills something, which is fantastic at any cost, which is insanity. Like SDRs, whatever you name it, it's gone. It's a 16k beater, and as long as you have this Unison on board, it restands. So sometimes, depending on the situation, like if you're facing blue, you don't give your Majin Vegeta the barrier, the blocker. You give this Vegeta the blocker instead. So on your awaken turn on turn 2, you go leader, you play the Unison, and then you go leader swing, top 5 search, draw awaken, 15k, and then you go swing with Unison, 15k, give this, then play this guy, snipe whatever they have, and then you draw 1 by giving a blocker, and then you swing 16k, activate battle, go 21k. Boom, now you've gone 15, 15, 21, and your opponent's probably going to go down to 5 life, maybe even 4 life, depending on what you're facing, if they take their own life as well.
Roger.
And then now you have a 16k blocker on your opponent's turn, and when they do their first swing, you go, cool, I get to block with this for 21k, and 21 is a really annoying number, because that means your opponent's got to go to 25 to even pressure you into wanting this card to die.
Right.
Which is fantastic.
Gotcha.
And the Goku is insane. The Goku is one of the most insane cards ever. It literally draws 1. The active main draws 1 no matter what. You counterplay, you don't counterplay, you're drawing a card no matter what. It's a 19k beater, and its activate battle is one of the best parts about the card. As long as you have a card with a blocker on board, you can restand this Goku and make it have plus 5k for the turn. So depending on your sequencing, especially having used the activate battle on your leader, you can literally go on the first swing with this Goku and go 29k, like 19k, activate battle, give it plus 5k, activate battle on the Goku restand. It's 24k for the turn plus the 5k from your leader ability, 29k on the first swing, and then swing again for 24. And then if your opponent ever removes it, you get to KO any of their battle cards on board, which is fantastic. It's a really, really good ability.
That's
and
really
on top
huge.
of that, like depending on matchup, you can go, you know what, I'm going to do 129k swing, and I'm just going to leave it up as a blocker. I'm going to make him the blocker instead of the Vegeta or the other guy. And then now you have a dual blocker that's a 24k base. Like, what is your opponent really going to do? They're going to lose their own cards to get rid of it, or they're going to have to deal with the fact that it's going to dual block, and if you dormant, their turn's done.
Nice. That is actually really cool. All right, and then looks like we have our boss lineup here coming up. So this is the new 8-drop Goku. And he has triple strike and revenge. That's actually 2 crack keywords right there already.
Yeah, Ground Shaking Fury is in my opinion, one of the best cards they've ever printed for green. Paying for energy is steep, of course. Paying for green is a lot. However, because there's the energy marker, if you are going second, you can play this on your turn 3 instead of your turn 4. And depending on game state, if your Unison stuck around, you can afford to just tap forward, play this guy, wipe your opponent's board, and then just swing in with it, because you can always give a blocker anyways with your Z Unison as well, and you can have Dormant to fall back on then at that point. But the card itself is absolute insanity. If your opponent removes it, they got to discard 3 cards, which means they got to go through hoops. They got to negate its skills and remove it, or they got to eat the tax and hope they have Deborah's or Silver Bullets in hand, and they got to hope you don't like BMS or Koitsukai or something else like that on top of that. Plus, it's got Revenge, and with the combination of the ZX, which we'll touch upon later on, it can also redirect, and it's too much.
Gotcha.
And the fact that it basically can be a potential 35k triple strike dual attack, and you activate battle, make it a 40k base. Triple strike, it's extremely detrimental to your opponent. Nobody likes having this card played against them.
No, I wouldn't either. And then we have Old Faithful Faded Rival combo. That's pretty self-explanatory right there. And I believe when we talked about this before, because you said the Piccolo was more important for you than the Son Goku was because of the pitch, the dual attack pitch effect, right?
Yep. So in particular, when you face like the Vegito matchup, although it didn't really come up, it came up a bit in the regional, but in general, in practice, you slam down the Goku, you kill their barrier Vegito, and then you can swing your leader at their Unison, get it down to like 2 markers, and build up your Z energy, because the Piccolo will snipe the Z Unison, like the Z Unison or whatever Unison, based on how much Z energy you have. So depending on how much Z energy you have, you can just go right ahead and snipe their Z Unison, and then now they've lost their ability to draw a period. And then now you just go 25-25 with the Piccolo, activate battle, draw 1, go 30 on any one of those swings. And if they have anything on the board to swing at their board. Don't even swing the leader. Like, you know what, you're not going to draw life. I'm going to rip your hand to shreds, and you're not calm going to deal with this. And then whenever you feel like it, you can swing at the Goku. You could leave it in active mode and just give a blocker with your Unison, and now you have a 30k barrier blocker. You have many applications with that one as well, but the main thing, of course, is the fact that the Piccolo itself lets you rip your opponent's hand to shred. And in one of my matches, I was very fortunate enough that my opponent wasn't able to clear the first Faded Rival package, because on the next turn, I slammed down a second Piccolo and ripped 4 cards out of his hand just off the Piccolo effects alone.
Oh my god, that is actually insane. Next, this is another boss card that you have here. This is the other super Old Faithful from set 21, which is the Son Goku and Gohan card that just was super broken anyway.
Yeah, the Father-Son Solidarity card's good. I mean, it's just really good in this meta. You're killing opponent's card on your choice. You're dealing 35k double strike pressure. Nothing more to say there. The card's fantastic.
Right, and now we're going to go ahead and dive into your extra card package, which is basically these 4 cards here, if I'm not mistaken.
So EDK, I mean, card's kind of self-explanatory. It's EDK, card's fantastic. I won a game literally just because I got lucky and top deck into the EDK to rip the last card of my opponent's hand, and I won because of that. You could run Feet Kamehameha alternatively in the deck, but honestly, that situation alone is why EDK is just better, because when I swung in, it was with a battle card. If I had drew Feet Kamehameha there, I'd lose the game instead. But either way, I digress. EDK or Feet Kamehameha, you can use that in conjunction with your leader's skill and your leader's auto to make your leader swing for 40k base. Whether you give a crit or not, that's up to you. But either way, this card is a powerhouse in this deck. The deck uses it very, very efficiently because basically you can do every swing with it in conjunction with the leader auto to be like the leader active battle to be a 20k boost. Draw one, rip a card out of your opponent's hand, and let's be real here. That's really good.
really good. And then it looks like you have 6 hard negates, token negate. That's pretty self-explanatory. And then uneasy awaken. That card is it's just really good, man. Being able to make them put cards in discard cards. You discard a card, draw a card, and then in order for them to continue attacking, they have to pay the cost.
Yep. So keep in mind they did actually errata it only works in green one, but like that errata is actually gone for the auto. But either way, it's one of the tax is the thing that happens here is when I need to, I can just oppose the tax on my opponent. More often than not, you're going to dormant more than you're going to uneasing. But both of these in combination does kind of win you the game. Because you have that activate battle in there, because you're giving something blocker, because you're dormanting, you can end entire turns and then deny your opponent so many resources that when they finally are trying to pressure you, you can slam this down and make it so that when they're trying to even commit onto you, their hand is turned to shreds. It's really, really strong.
Yeah, that's actually really huge. And then obviously we know what dormant is. That's been like a green staple since it actually been put out. And I see you got the actual cool art in the deck, which is with the Vegeta. All right, so now we're going on to, of course, the one of charismatic villain. Please bring that back to 4. Black shouldn't have theirs at 4. So we're just saying, but I'm actually excited because me being a Crimson Lambo player, we finally got a free counterplay card, which is something that was much needed. And looks like the secret rare of choice was Cell Xeno. Just looking at it, I mean, it looks like you can easily make 12 to successor. Was that the reason why?
Yep, it's very easy math, and like you have to think about it too, right? Other SCRs, they demand you to use energy other than Pan, right? But like it's very easy for me turn 5 to tap 4 for Ground Shaking Fury, wipe my opponent's board, swing with a triple strike, bait him into ripping their hand apart, play the Goku, draw another card, do the dual attack, and then be like, you know what? You think you've suffered enough? No. I'm going to go ahead and play Cell Xeno, rip another 3 out of your hand, and go for lethal, right? It's very, very simple. And there's so many ways to go about it. Like the 8-drop Gohan Goku plus any of the 4 costs, or the Fated Rival package. There's so many flexible ways to do it. Even Charismatic and a 1-drop and a 6 cost does the math perfectly there too, even. So you have a lot of routes into it.
And then the last card we have in the main deck is Cooler Armed Force. This has also been a pretty much of another green staple, and it got reprinted for us, so that's actually pretty good. How did this card work out for you?
Absolutely useless. This is the one card I have legitimately, and not only just in the regional, I have legitimately cast this card 0 times since I built this list.
Oh, wow.
It has done absolutely nothing for me. I'm not calling the card bad, but I've never had a situation where I wanted to stack one of my battle cards on board to play the Broly Z card to then play this. I just never ran into a scenario where I felt like that was the good play. This card is probably the card that I've sat it out the most out of anything else in the deck. And like I said, I've cast it legitimately 0 times.
And this is how many card deck? 53? 53? Okay. Well, I mean, now you have some wiggle room. I mean, of course, we're going to make some changes. So maybe some of the stuff that we see in the side deck come to the main deck, and this goes to the side deck. But before we get to the side deck, let's go ahead and take a look at your Z deck. It has been increased to 10 cards. How does that make you feel?
It's blessed. Like there's no more headache. Like before it was like, oh, but I need this and I need that and I need this and that, but I got to do one of this, 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 and that was misery. Like nobody likes one of those.
Well, let's start diving into it. You said that this Z Unison is the newfound power of the deck, and it makes it run.
Exactly. So the Z Unison, I ran it at 4 copies. I mean, the Z Unison's insanity. You pay 2 to play. It only costs 1 Z energy, which is fantastic because the leader rebuilds the energy just for doing literally nothing. The +0 draw is always, of course, good and giving anything blocker. I've never actually used the other +0 to pitch his energy to discard a card, but I'm sure that somebody will run into a game where that actually matters. But overall, this has just been an easy 15k beater. But what I do when I play this deck is I don't go 25k with leader because it doesn't matter. They're going to super combo or they're not going to super combo. I don't care. I just want to use cards. Instead, I go 20 with leader and then swing with this and go 20k using the leader ability. Now it's 20-20 and they have to keep comboing up anyways. I want them to use their super combos early.
Right.
That way when I go for the big Cell Xeno swings and stuff, they don't got it.
So I do see that it's when it's removed by opponent's skill. That card has a blocker. If you block with the card, you don't get the marker, correct?
No,
Okay.
you don't get the marker if it gets KO'd, like through battle. It has to be removed by skill, which is fine. It's this unison, very normal for it to sit at like 2 markers, 1 marker for the whole match. And the reason I'm running 4 is because it is a fragile unison, because it doesn't actually gain markers that easily. Your opponent is going to waste time swinging at it, but you don't care. That's fine. By all means, waste your turn swinging at this. By all means, tap 2 for black smoke. I'm playing bombs that are wiping your board, ripping your hand apart, and demanding your attention.
Sure.
And if you want to waste 2 energy to get rid of this, or you want to waste your swings on this, that's perfectly fine by me.
Well, that makes
the card
sense.
is very good.
That makes sense there. All right, the next one was You Fool. This card you said was very key into a lot of the plays you wanted to make, right?
Yes, this card is fantastic. It makes your Crown Shaking Fairy basically a 35k triple strike dual attacker, or depending on how you sequence it, a blocker as well, potentially dual blocker, although very rarely you do that. The secondary ability of the redirect did actually win me my final round. I was very lucky there. We were going to time rules, and he went for the double strike and to take me to 1 so he would have more battle cards on board, because we would match life, but I was able to redirect the attack to this, and that's what saved me.
Nice.
The card is obviously really, really strong. There's no way around it.
Okay.
It's a really, really strong Z extra.
Nice. All right, and then looks like we're going into our Z battle cards here, and looks like you went with 2 Broly, 1 Jiro, and 1 Jiren.
Mm-hmm. So Broly, I mean, let's breathe here. A 20k beater for 1 that can gain double strike and can pop something on board. There's nothing bad to say about this card. It's just strong, period. Dr. Giro is more of, if I want to get myself down to 4 life and I'm at 5 life, I can do it on demand, so my super combos are live when I'm trying to go for an all-in. There is also a alternative upside to Giro in that because he's a barrier Z card, he just sits there on board. If there's any green cards that rely on having a Z battle card on board, it fulfills that requirement, such as the Goku 18 SR from set 20. I'm not running it in this list, but it is something worth considering just because you can swing with the 18 Goku, and if you pop one of your opponent's Z Unisons, even though it didn't actually go to the drop, it forces it to get removed, but it doesn't go to the drop, which also forces the discard on that Goku 18 auto as well.
Oh, nice.
But that card can only be played if you have a Z card on board.
Okay.
So realistically, I pay 1, I get this guy out any turn I want, and then I go into this. Now your Z Unisons are never safe, and you're losing cards in hand. So
Nice.
There's applications there. And then Jiren is, well, Jiren, you just
big double strike. Big double strike.
Big double strike. Also, there is the additional use that now that everyone's running Z Unisons, if you have a lot of Z energy, which you can build, you can be you can build a lot of Z energy in this deck. You can be like, you know what, your Z Unison there, or your Boo Unison, or whatever the heck, we're just going to snipe it. We don't care. It's out.
Right. Okay. All right. And then let's dive into this side deck real quick. I'm just going to go ahead and click on all of them. We can just take a huge look, because side decks are a lot of the times very personal preference, I would say. It does look like you factored in some key cards that are in pretty much every side deck now, like Koitsukai and Hunt of the Demon God, which are the 2 of the 3 black cards that you have. So we kind of know what those do. Focus Breakthrough has been simply like a green side deck staple as well. I see that. Now the card that I want to talk about the most is this Heavenly Wizard Demigra. Why are we playing this at a 2 of?
Honestly, if you can run more, you'd run more. It's mainly for the Vegito matchup, because they're going to play their 30k double striker with Barrier on turn 2, and you need to be able to clear it. And the problem with green decks is that all your good bear removal, well, other than the Trunks SR, which I'll touch on after, but all your good removal can only be played if your opponent's at 3 or more energy. That's one key weakness, if you notice, is the Fated Rival and the Gohan Goku. They can only be played when your opponent's at 3. I don't want to wait till my opponent's at 3. I want to get rid of that Vegito now. So, mind you, the removal only happens during my turn, so I can't stop them from doing the initial double strike. But at the end of the day, as long as my opponent's at 3 or less energy, I can swing with anything, combo this, and say, yeah, bye-bye to your SR. You're going to have to waste a turn reestablishing it. Oh, and I'm going to kill your Unison. So you're going to waste 3 energy to get your lines of play back. And hopefully, well, you better hope I don't have a Dormant hand, because if I do, your turn's done anyways.
And then it looks like you put Biriarr in for the same deck as well.
For that one, and also for U7.
Okay.
The big thing there is U7 will try to Purunga cheese you, or they'll try to cheese you with because what they'll do is they'll play Absolute Annihilation, they'll play Purunga, and then they'll play the Goku. But that's a 6 energy play. So realistically, if you have the energy marker, turn 5, turn 6, you just slam this down. They can't kill you with the infinite attack Goku, because if they're going to tap down my energy anyways, or make it so I can't use my extra cards on defense anyways, I might as well be proactive. The card is not fantastic. I'm not a big fan of it. Tapping 2 is steep no matter how you slice it. But when you look at the U7 deck, that's kind of the only way they can beat you is through the 6 cost, and if through Purunga cheese, or if they for some reason are running the Victory Strike. Gotcha. And just stops both of those. So it's very important, and it is nice against Vegeta.
Understandable. And I think I know why this Blue Impulse is in here. Are you scared of a certain deck that I've been playing?
Yeah, I'm terrified of you. Nah, I'm good. I don't want them to play nothing on my turn. They want to play their dudes. I say, sure, no problem. Here's a pulse. You better rebuild that stuff real quick, bud, because
I understand.
It's also good against Tapion. It's very, very good against Tapion.
Okay, because of that auto is actually pretty nuts. I heard that deck is actually pretty cool.
Yeah, that deck is absolutely insane. Every game that I faced when I was playing the regional, they'd have 14, 16 cards in Amsterdam. Okay, I have a decent, I have 12, 13 cards, 11 cards, which is good. Don't get me twisted. That is good for a green deck. But these guys are 14, 16 cards. When I'm telling them discard 1, discard 2, discard 1, and they're still maintaining hand size. So you need every advantage you can get.
Sick. Golden Frieza Newfound Might. That is a nice one of in there. I know with Z Unisons you can't do Empower because Empower counts the actual card being in the drop. So this is just a hard cast 3, and then I'm gonna either play it on turn 5 or something and just minus the markers to give it triple strike, or you're just using it for a dual blocker.
So I'll be honest, when I put it into the list, I didn't realize what the ruling was. I found out about the ruling the day before the regional. I'm like, you know what? I'm too lazy to make changes at this point. I'm just going to stick with it.
Gotcha.
That's the main reason I didn't cut it out, but I still would probably keep it in. But yeah, like you said, it's more of depending on matchups, it's more of cool, I can just tap 4, wipe your opponent's board, and be cool, I'm going to have a dual blocker now and I can dormant still, or tap 5 and now I have the triple strike threat. And it's still good in that way, because depending on your opponent's deck, what they're playing, they may be a front-loaded deck where they waste all their energy at the get-go, and then you do the board wipe and you're good, and you have to just find that flow. Some matchups, it's not like that. A lot of decks, they do one thing at a time, play something, swing. But some decks are kind of like an Exodia, where they have to build up all the pieces in the get-go, and then they go at you. And it's very good in those matchups, but also it's to respect the Hatch matchup.
Nice.
Hatchiak is very strong right now.
Shout out to Ivo. Ivo is best. I believe he topped with Hatch too this weekend at Texas.
He did.
Nice.
And it's to respect that matchup.
Gotcha.
It's almost was for U7. I didn't run into a U7 in the regional, so happy days, I guess. I was ready to beat them anyways.
Oh, my boy, Ducky.
This is more of, you combo 2 cards, you pay the 2 energy, and you say, cool, your 6-drop Goku is dead. There's nothing you can do about it. You don't even get a counter window to stop this because it's on the activate battle. Your Goku is gone, no ifs, ands, or buts. That's what it's there for, but that's probably not staying in the sideboard anymore.
Understandable. So we pretty sure you're gonna make a few changes here. Here's the deck list, guys. Again, I do think maybe you should probably. Cunning looks like it should be in the deck possibly, or in the side. And you did mention the 18 Goku card, so that's another card that you can take a look at there.
The 8-cost Trunks. The 8-cost Trunks is the one I'm definitely doing. So what I will be doing personally is the coolers are coming out 1,000,000%. I'm putting 2 of the 8-cost Trunks in. And for my Z deck, I'm making it so it's a 1-to-1 split of Mighty Blast, the green Mighty Blast, and 1 copy of U-Fool. That way, when I am on my turn 3 going first, I can play my 8-cost Trunks and remove the Vegito 8-drop without having to stress as much. It's really, really important, and Mighty Blast is still a really strong Z extra that has a built-in EDK anyway, so what's the downside?
There doesn't seem to be a downside at all there. So like I said, I want to give you congratulations again on doing very well with the deck. We did have a nice team I think 3 of our players topped this past weekend. So looking forward to get those couple of deck profiles. We got Fu coming. We're gonna have U7 coming as well there. And I didn't get to play this weekend, but I do plan on probably taking Jiren. So I'll get that deck profile out to you guys as well. Do you have any shout outs that you want to give out, buddy?
I mean, shout out to Game 3, of course. I wanted to also throw a shout out to Miguel. The core of this list was honestly from him, and like, I don't know if you can see that, but I named the list Value MP Style Goku. The MP stands for Miguel Controller. Shout out to the homie.
All right, I see it right there. Value MP Style. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah. He's been hit with life, so I just wanted to give him a shout out.
Understandable.
And then I also do want to give a shout out to Maxwell. I do appreciate him hopping into the Discord every now and then, throwing out some words of encouragement, and helping me not be a busybody, because I have a very bad habit of changing decks that I want to play for regional, like literally the last second. And he's like, "Bro, just play your Green Goku deck. You play it too well. Just play it. Stop being an idiot."
Yeah. You do have that tendency. You'll change something up at the last minute. All right. Yeah. And if you guys, I do have a discount code with Game 3. Yes, they do ship to the US, even though they're based out of Canada. I am on the US team, and Beer's on the Canadian team. So the code is going to be Pac-Man5. I will also drop that in the description below. The link to this profile will definitely also be in the description. Make sure you guys like, comment, and subscribe. And remember, if anybody's ever got a problem with you, tell them to kiss your ass, because that's what I do. Peace, love, happiness. We out of here. Gone.